Call to order the Sparks City Council meeting for Monday, September 22nd with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson,
Here.
council members Abbott,
Here.
Vanderwell,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Bybee,
Here.
Rodriguez,
Here.
City Manager Louthen,
Here.
City Attorney Duncan. We have a quorum, thank you.
Thank you. And we have Bishop Brent Forbush from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to give our invocation.
Our dear gracious Father, which art in heaven, we humbly come before thee this afternoon, thankful for thy love, for thy grace, and thy forgiveness that thou provides us. We're thankful for the opportunity that we have to serve this city, to live in this community, and to be a part of this wonderful family that we have here. Father in heaven, at this time, we ask thee for compassion, for understanding. We ask thee to bless us with your love, that we may be able to understand each other, that we may listen more than we talk, that we may be able to understand what is best for each other, for the city, and for the continued growth. We ask thee to bless the members of our city council, that they may be blessed with wisdom, with understanding, with the knowledge of what they should do to best lead this city forward. We ask for a special blessing upon all of those members that work in this city and work for our city, that they may be blessed with safety and protection, especially protect our first responders, our police and fire and paramedics, that they may be able to carry out their duties and be able to assist our community members the best that they can, and to provide them with love and care as they encounter their difficult situations. For these things we ask, and we ask for a special blessing always in our lives and daily from thee, and recognize thy hand in our lives. And we say this in the name of our beloved Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Mr. Duncan, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, move into public comment. Those of you who want to comment on 9.1, we'll do it at under 4.1. We'll start off with, who do you got on the list first? Richard Bissett, followed by Trey Abney.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and council members. I'm Richard Bissett. I'm a city resident, Sparks. And I want to congratulate you on beginning to address the data center issue early on. I think that was very wise on your part. I am going to be mentioning some comments that I thought were pretty darn good from a presentation to the city of Reno. And the author is Barry Levinson. So when I look at just the agenda, the most important thing that stands out to me is the 2024 Integrated Resource Plan prepared by NV Energy identifies that power requests predominantly from TRIC data centers could require up to 5,900 megawatts of capacity additions to support requests for power. And that's in comparison to the current peak energy demand for Northern Nevada, which is 2,100 megawatts. That to me is like underline, 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 because the ratepayers pay for that infrastructure that's going to be required for new development. It's kind of a nice thing that NV Energy has. They can build whatever they build, they can charge to the ratepayers. But do we want the ratepayers to be stuck with that huge increase? Many citizens are not going to be using their electricity for the AI searches of the data center, or they don't have crypto. You know, crypto requires all those iterations of data to get the one that fits, and the password. So adding data centers powered by fossil fuel gas generation, that's gonna blow a hole in the 45% reduction that we're supposed to have in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. Solar is cheaper than gas, and I think it's quicker to build than a gas plant. But ultimately, it's Nevada Energy's choice. Goes fast, doesn't it? So, water's the other issue, not as much as the energy, but the key issue is the amount of energy that these giant data centers require and who ends up paying for that. And to get clear on the impact on the city, it sounds great when you have like a Tesla coming in that employs people, but data centers actually only employ 10 employees after the fact. Because that might call it
Yes, sir.
am I done?
That was your fast 3
All
minutes.
right. Thank you.
Or in this case,
I
3 minutes and 50 seconds.
I am impressed by you
Thank you.
guys attacking this issue. Thank you so much.
Okay, Trey Abney, followed by Joseph Hoshin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney. For the record, Trey Abney, and I'm here today representing NAIOP Northern Nevada, the largest commercial real estate development advocacy association in the region, and here to speak on agenda item 9.1. We appreciate the council taking a thoughtful, reasoned, and proactive approach to data center development in our region. I would like to begin, though, by encouraging your staff to sit down with us and our members who do this work and who are experts in this field as you go through this journey. NAIOP is currently in active conversations with Jeremy and the team at TMRPA, with NV Energy, and of course, other critical players in this space. And we believe that this conversation actually started in the right place at regional planning, as we do not want to have a situation where we have 3 different governments in Washoe County going 3 different directions. We should all agree on one set of rules and one set of standards, and that's better for economic developments here in the region as a whole. We do want to implore you, if I may be blunt, to stay in your lane. TUML handles water rights and water allocations for all projects, and future data center projects will actually use less water than your average industrial facility will anyway. NV Energy is committed to ensuring that new projects pay for the power they need without impacting your current constituents. No project will be built without a will serve letter from the utility. They are governed by strict rules set by the PUC, not by individual local governments. And we must be cognizant of the benefits that these centers can provide to our region, such as continued tax revenue and less traffic congestion, and that we would actually play a part in powering the modern economy. Again, thank you. Let's get to a regional solution with a clear set of realistic rules for by right development that ensures continued economic growth and protection for your constituents. We look forward to working with you and your team. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Trey. Joseph Hoshin, followed by Robin Palmer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Hoshin. I'm retired scientist and resident of Sparks. I'm also a heavy user of artificial intelligence, so I like it. But
Joseph, can you move a little closer to the mic or bring it closer to you? I'm just having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
okay, I'm Joseph Hoshin, a retired scientist, lives in Sparks, and I'm a heavy user of artificial intelligence. However, I'm concerned about the impact of AI on the environment. And I sent emails, so I will be brief. There's, of course, first of all, it's a heavy use of energy. It will use more energy than what's currently used in northern Nevada. You know, recently, Meta built a data center that uses 2 gigawatts of energy, and I think in Louisiana. Now, the biggest nuclear reactors generate about 2 gigawatts, so you can imagine, you know, what kind of energy consumptions we have here. Now, the concern about the environment is that they typically use as a backup as diesel generators, and these are polluters. You know, they spread carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, and so we have to be, so it would be preferable if they use backup batteries instead of, you know, this diesel backup generators. So we have to make sure that we don't have excess pollution because of these centers. Another area is that they need cooling. I mean, they use the data center use a lot of central processing units and graphic processing units, which go very hot. And in order to operate, they need a lot of cooling because in order to operate safely and efficiently and not to fail. So we have to watch out, you know, about the usage of water. Now, water may not be used directly, but you need it as part of the cooling mechanism because they typically get cooled up by other fluids. But eventually you need some water, and we need to make sure that the usage of water is efficient and it doesn't get wasted. So that's a third point is that sound noise. The cooling systems are noisy. The electrical systems also tend to be noisy, so we need to make sure that they are at a good distance from residential areas or even business areas. Now, another thing.
Please. Your time is up.
Okay, so I just want to finish up. We should require the use of carbon-free energy like geothermal, which we have here, and solar, which we have plenty of around here also. So that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Robin Palmer, followed by Julia Hubbard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Robin Palmer for the record. I'm here in support of agenda item 9.1, I think, directing the city manager to initiate changes to Title 20 to modify Title 20 to accommodate data centers. Here's the data center scale. Over here, you have financial benefit to the city of Sparks. You're probably all seeing lots of dollar signs there. Over here, you have impact on the community. Again, lots of dollar signs here, but my little team of data center researchers have not been able to get a good handle on actually how many dollars that might bring to your community. That information is really hard to get. Over here, you have impact on the community. We have known, documented impacts on the community. Energy consumption is massive. Water consumption can be massive. Noise pollution, air pollution from diesel backup generators, cost shifting for infrastructure, water discharge is an issue. So it seems to me the scales is kind of, tipping this way. I hope your city manager will do their homework, look into what initiatives other communities who have already allow data centers into their community and have suffered the impacts. Look at what initiatives those communities are taking to limit data centers and the impact to the citizens of Sparks and Truckee Meadows. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Julia Howard, followed by Olivia Tanich.
Julia Hubbard, and I am the Director of Solar United Neighbors. We represent solar owners, but we also care about ensuring that our grid is affordable and resilient. We appreciate the council's thoughtful approach to data centers because we believe that data centers must pay their fair share for the energy they consume and the infrastructure they require. Communities deserve a real voice in where these facilities are built, how they're powered, and who benefits. These buildings should be powered by on-site or nearby clean, affordable energy, including rooftop solar, I'd love to see community solar, and battery storage, not fossil fuels. We believe that there are 6 things to consider. It's really important that we protect critical services first. During periods of high energy use, like heat waves or winter storms, homes, schools, hospitals, and emergency services must be prioritized, not data centers. So data centers should be required to reduce or shift their energy use during these grid stresses. As I said before, they need to be required to get their energy from clean, on-site, or nearby power. Like I said before, paired with solar panels, paired with battery storage. On-site solar and storage help reduce data centers' stress to the grid and will also speed up interconnection. We also need to consider adopting flexible interconnection agreements and capacity curtailment rules for large loads. It's important that utilities limit data center energy use during emergencies or grid peaks as a condition for connecting to the grid. Data centers should pay, not the public. So it's important that corporations must cover the cost of the infrastructure they need. We would like to see at the state level that these costs are prohibited from passing on to residential and small business customers, and it's important for the PUCN to take that on. Also, a special rate class should be established for these large loads. And again, that would be done by the PUCN, but I'm mentioning it to you all because it's important to hear. These rate structures need to be set up to ensure that data centers cover their full costs, even if data centers come offline or use much less electricity than expected. This ensures that families and other small businesses don't get stuck with these costs. And finally, we need to require public reporting on large data center projects, their grid impacts, and associated costs. We need to ensure that these costs and contracts and grid impacts are available for public scrutiny so that we all know what we're paying for. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Olivia Tanich, followed by Elon. I can't read your last name, sorry. Is it Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council folk, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. City Manager. I am Olivia Tanager. I am the Executive Director of the Sierra Club's Toyabe chapter. We are the largest grassroots environmental organization in the state of Nevada. We also cover parts of Eastern California. And we have had kind of a front row seat to some of the issues with data centers in our state across the years. We have seen your counterparts in Las Vegas adopt standards and the Southern Nevada Water Authority adopt standards preventing evaporative cooling, which is something a lot of my colleagues and folks have already stated issues with as it pertains to data centers is the water. And we know our water situation in Northern Nevada is different than it is in Southern Nevada, but it is something we should be concerned and focused on nonetheless. And so as you all look into requirements and an ordinance around data centers, I want to urge you to consider the water situation. We believe that is one of the most potentially potentially dangerous parts of data centers. I do want to state for the record, though, we are not anti-data center. There has been a misconception about that. That is certainly not the case. We recognize the situation that we are in 2025 and recognize the benefits that can come from data centers. But as your colleagues at the American Planning Institute and other places are grappling with and have put out recommendations to adopt a comprehensive ordinance pertaining to data centers, we would urge you to do the same. You heard from my good friend, Mr. Abney, about the need to do this at the regional level, and we don't dispute that there should be some sort of standard that is set across the region of Northern Nevada. However, we do applaud you in taking on this issue and believe that there are some Sparks-specific things that should be considered as it relates to data centers. And so we do believe that it is the place of the city of Sparks to lead on that issue and to adopt a Sparks-specific ordinance. And hopefully your colleagues next door in the city of Reno will follow suit. One of the things that we are concerned about as it relates to not adopting good standards around data centers is that we will get the dollar store data centers here in Northern Nevada. And that is certainly not what we want. We want data centers that operate in good faith with members of the community, that operate in good faith with city council folks such as yourselves, and that operate in good faith broadly as it relates to our natural resources. And so if you set standards that data centers can agree to, we will get good quality data centers here that do not have some of the negative ancillary impacts that we are seeing across the country. I know that you all are concerned, as you should be, about the bottom line of the city of Sparks. I know that regional governments, particularly yours, have had some struggles as it relates to bringing in money, and you are looking for new ways to do that, as you should be. It is a good effort. But some of the concerns with data centers in particular are, as other folks have mentioned, the lack of economic incentives that sometimes they will tell you they have, including the jobs. That's a really big issue. Data centers oftentimes employ very few folks after construction, leaving. Goodness, that does go by fast. The other thing that I'll mention really quickly, if you'll allow me, Mr. Mayor, is the tax abatements that exist with data centers. As Robin mentioned, we don't know how much money is going to trickle into the city of Sparks. So I would encourage you all to get good answers about that and figure out ways that you can maximize the benefits that you all are going to get from data centers coming here. And I will leave the rate shifting conversation for another time. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, is it Ellen? Elvira. Elvira. I'm sorry, I couldn't read your handwriting, Elvira.
I apologize for my handwriting. Elvira Diaz.
All I had to see was your face, then I would know who it was. Go ahead.
Okay, very nice to see you, all of you guys. Thank you to really try to help Sirius Parks. One of the reasons I love Sirius Parks is the air quality, and we have enough water right now. We don't want to be lack of money. So data centers are magnificent for new technology, but I think we are lacking overall to regulations of data centers. So what I'm worried about is one day we're going to be out of water or contaminated or big fire. We have fire in Sparks. So we need to just do very good regulation in order to don't have open doors just to any data center to come. And also, I want them to be able to pay the money they spend by putting the data center. And that we really value that we're going to be benefit in economic for Sparks, but mostly environmental. We need to save our water, and we need to save our safety. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much, guys. Nice to see you.
Thank you. All right, Matthew Foster. You're gonna bring the mic up there for him?
Thank you.
We don't want you to have to hobble down here.
I'll take a tumble.
We don't need that either. I don't have enough paramedic firemen here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and all the council members. Sorry, feedback.
I think you're standing underneath the speaker. You might want to move to your right.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay, sorry. So I've lived here 33 years, and mostly in Sparks, but in Reno too. And lately I've seen the condition of our area really fall off. There's weeds everywhere that are clearly the responsibility of City of Sparks. Maybe get volunteers. I mean, I've read about the budget and all that and lack of money, but it's like, for example, the lawns that are at the parks. Why don't they ever trim the edges? It looks really crappy. And there's just weeds and on the middle, the lane dividers, curbs not being painted. I mean, image is everything. And especially, I live on Nichols and Victorian. And if you go down Victorian, what happened to all those beautiful signs that used to be on those light poles? What happened to those? There's one. Everything else is missing. That fence looks like crap. We could do a better job. And maybe dress up or just do window dressing, but make the buildings along Victorian more presentable. Throw some paint on there, whatever. And because you've got a captive audience on Highway 80, and people, you want them to visit Sparks, I'm assuming. So maybe put up flags touting what Sparks is all about, what we have, things like that. We don't do that. And it's curious to me why it's fallen off all these years. Now I forgot what, to Sparks Police, you guys are great, but we are getting way too many speeders, especially on Nichols, because I happen to live in the RV park right there. And every day and every night you get people just racing up and down Victorian, gunning their cars. You could bring in so much money with all the tickets because it's annoying. What do you know, there's just nothing being done about it. I mean, stake out some hidden spots and get these guys or women. But my main concern was the condition of the whole city. There's just weeds everywhere. So I appreciate all your time and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. All right, anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? If not, I am going to close public hearing and we're going to go to approval of the agenda. Mr. Anderson?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda with item 7.1 being removed and hearing item 11.1 before item 9.3.
Okay. I've got a motion.
We don't have the ability to.
Hold on. We're gonna try and do this digitally.
I think we're good.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez. Second. I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the minutes. Any additions, subtractions? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for September 8th, 2025.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? No, wait, we're gonna vote. Please vote. I'm running another meeting in my head, sorry. Motion carries unanimously. All right, to announcements, presentation, and recognition items. 7.2, the Life Change Center. Good to have you back. Do we have a copy of his presentation?
I'm hoping. Other than that, I'm just going to talk to you guys.
Okay.
Right here. Thank you. Technology always has its hiccups for me. Thank you. So first and foremost, I want to thank you all. Thank you, Mayor Lawson. Thank you, council members. Thank you, City Attorney Duncan, and thank you, City Manager Luthan, for, I don't know if you remember, I was here about a year ago, and you guys gave a very generous donation to the Life Change Center to help out some of the members, our less fortunate members of our community. The Life Change Center is an outpatient treatment center. We've been in Sparks since 1998, helping people that have problems with opioids, such as fentanyl, which is the biggest problem that we're seeing right now. With your donation, I don't have a picture like a before picture, a true before picture, but everything you're seeing here is what a part of, anyway, your donation paid for. All new concrete, ADA, new roof, and that's harm reduction. And this is more of a finished picture of it. And I just really wanted to thank you guys. We could not have done this without you. It's really a pleasure for me to be back here. It took a little longer to get it done than I wanted, cost a little bit more, but I think that's construction in a nutshell. And in the thanks, I want to remind you guys, and you may not know this, that harm reduction is kind of something that's up in the air. Not everybody may feel great about it or whatever, but let me tell you, the data is really clear. People that are accessing harm reduction supplies are 5 times more likely to get into treatment, which is a predecessor to a lot of decrease in social costs and increase in their quality of life. They're 3.5 times more likely to stop injection drug use. People using harm reductions supplies coupled with MOUD, which is like your medications that we prescribe, therapies are 75% less likely to contract HIV or hepatitis C. And as well, this is from Clark County, access to harm reduction programs like the one we just started accounted for a 15% decrease in the community overdose rates in Clark County in 1 year. And that was in 2021. So thank you very, very much for your donation. And I want to talk a little bit about what is next. And this is a big project. I know timing is not really good to come and ask for support, but I am going to be asking for support. What the Life Change Center has in mind is a fairly large project. Those of you that know the Life Change Center, I think a lot of you have seen it, may remember this stunning 1970s building, not quite cool yet. But that's what it looks like now, and this is right next to one of our service locations, and about 400 people a day are accessing our service location in Sparks. This is the artist renderings of what this will look like at the end of our project. I'm gonna go through a couple pictures so you can get an idea of what we're going to do and how this is going to look. We're trying to create a campus that really focuses on family programs. This is another view of this project. You can see the building in the lower right-hand corner. That is our service location. And then this fancy thing here is a walkthrough video or a flyover video of what this property will look like when we're done. What you're looking at is, again, I'm going to go into in more detail. It is really to emphasize that intersection between family needs and recovery needs. When people show up to Life Change Center, they're not that much different in demographics in terms of whether or not they have children. We're in a wonderful position to try and decrease the likelihood that those children become addicted themselves, what they call the intergenerational transmission of addiction. We would love to be a disruptive force in what we see in that. And that has huge implication long-term for our community in multiple ways, including costs. What we're going to do, and this is a floor plan, it's a little messy, but follow me. I think really the important stuff is on the left side of your screen. We're gonna create more or less a social services mall. On one side, the Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows, wanna thank them very much, have signed on to do a daycare. This is a huge gap when a person starts that journey of recovery and they have children and they start working, which is what we want. They're gonna hit a huge financial wall, and that is daycare. What we're going to offer is low and no cost daycare to the patients that are at the Life Change Center that have children. We're also working with Mariah Behavioral Health and Anchor Point Teen Treatment. They're the same company. They will focus on 13 to 18-year-olds. There will be IOP, which is intensive outpatient services, and psychiatric services for 13 to 18-year-olds. We will also have a psychiatric and addiction medicine center. Life Change Center will operate that. That's in the blue. The upstairs, it really is just our offices, but this is the overall goal of the Life Change Center. It's going to be quite expensive, but we think we can get it done within 2 years. We have got conditional use permit approved. We're going to likely be in for permit by the end of this year. We're really trying to get ahead of that change that's happening on January 1 and start construction April 1st-ish, depending on weather. And I would love to make myself available for questions if you have some about this project or the harm reduction project that we have done.
Okay. Ms. Vanderwell.
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to say, John, thank you. And thank you for bringing this to us. And excited that it's in my ward and I get to work with you on a lot of these things. So I'm really, really excited to see where it's going further. So thank you for all that you and your board members do.
Oh, thank you.
Ivy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John, where do you stand on the fundraising efforts, and are you pursuing grants, private foundations? Obviously, your dinner, which I will be in attendance this week, will help towards that, but where are you, what is the estimated cost? And how close or how far are you from that?
So this far, I think, might be a good way. Yeah, this close. We have just started. So we hired Diaz Dixon. He's going to be leading us in our fundraising efforts. I'm here before you now to start that dialogue. Hopefully it's something that we can work towards in the future. This doesn't have to be immediate money. We do need to somehow, this is an asset for the city of Sparks. This is an asset for the county of Washoe. This is an asset for the state of Nevada. We're a nonprofit. This is something that stays here regardless who the executive director is. So it's something we really love to have your support on, but we are nowhere near. We have what's called an ROM, which is like a first guess of how much this is going to cost. It's going to be about $8.1 million to get this.
8.1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to get it done. And that's everything. It may be a little less because, like, for example, we're working with the Boys and Girls Club. They may do their tenant improvements, which would reduce that. So it's overall, though, that's what it's going to cost to get it done. Great question. And anything, yeah, we have right now like a committee to help with the fundraising. We're just starting those efforts right now.
Mr. Anderson.
No questions for you. I actually just want to say thank you for the work you're doing, especially the proximity to the Audi district and what the work that's going in over there. I just think they're going to go hand in hand and be able to complement each other on the work you're doing for the community. So thank you very much. Keep it up, and we'll help how we can.
But you already are, like bringing up that project that the Children's Cabinet's doing with the food bank. That's such a really exciting, like a dynamism that's going to occur in the Audi district. So we're very excited to be a part of it. Seems like a little scary-ish. Timing isn't perfect, right? But there is never a perfect time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thanks, John. Appreciate it.
I will
Good
close.
work.
I will close. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to hear from our gentleman on e-bike safety. Come on down.
Afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm Micah. I'm Ben.
I'm John.
We're here to address the problem with e-bikes starting to increase popularity in our community. Since we're in middle school, we have seen with kids around us, we have seen them get injured and them look at e-bikes like they're like the new trend and they're really popular. And they are very nice to get around on, but there's dangers around them.
Really, I first noticed this problem in my neighborhood when I started seeing the amount of kids riding e-bikes. I crashed on an e-bike personally myself and broke my arm. That's really kind of when I really started to realize how dangerous these e-bikes were. I wasn't even going that fast. This is the same model of the e-bike I crashed on. It weighs 70 pounds. I fell over and I shattered my elbow. Which shows how dangerous these things are even at low speeds. It's a legal e-bike. It goes under 20 miles an hour, but they are dangerous. So I can't imagine what would happen to someone my age going 50 miles an hour and doing the same thing. It's my beautiful arm picture. Mike up next. Go shoot fast.
So there have been lots of accounts of fatal e-bike crashes in all sorts of different communities, especially here.
These are all headlines from newspapers all over the U.S.
There have been multiple crashes here in Sparks, including a fatal one, and in Reno too. The kids riding them are under 16. Was it 37% of kids riding e-bikes are under the age of 14? And they don't know the rules of the road, and because they've never driven cars, so they don't know the rules. But we can teach them how to be safe, and the rules.
Seen that 21%, between 2021 and 2022, e-bike injuries have rose 21%, and between 2020 and now, the e-bike injuries have rose 200%.
We can help stop this problem by putting more bike lanes onto public roads, to get them off of, instead of riding on the roads, as you can see, on the roads, instead of put them into the bike lanes, which increases safety for the riders and drivers as well. And then we can also teach them about how to ride their e-bike safely. E-bikes are here to stay, but we can make them
safer and better for our community by enforcing the laws that we put in that Reno has put in their code. We can make traveling on an e-bike safer.
We found one account where some e-bikes, such as a Sur-Ron, can go up to 70 miles per hour, and it has 7,000 watts. The city's ordinance states that, was it 1,000?
The city's ordinance states that 750 watts is the legal limit. Most of these e-bikes that these kids are riding, especially these Sur-Rons, which have become extremely popular nowadays, are making well above that and are going well above the 21 miles per hour that designates them as e-bikes. These e-bikes that we are seeing today are designated as e-motorcycles.
Another problem is that they're not registering their e-bikes or their e-motorcycles because they are a motor vehicle. They don't even have a title of ownership for some of them. We saw one article in New York where to ride an e-bike, you have to have insurance, registration for it. You have to be over the age of 16. And you need a license to ride them.
To be honest, I believe that the solution for e-bikes is to enforce the law that minors can ride, or kids younger than 16 should be able to can ride e-bikes off-road, but on-road it's just not safe.
We can make e-bikes fun, fast, and safe without turning our streets into danger zones. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions from the council? By the way, most people's biggest fear is public speaking. You guys did a fantastic job. Thank you for that. Mr. Anderson.
Just want to echo the mayor and say, great job, young men. I appreciate it. Just yesterday, I saw two young men on e-bikes, just like the picture that you were showing there. right around your age, and they were going down Los Altos, and they were actually leaving the traffic behind them. So they were going in excess of 35 miles an hour. One was in the bike lane, they were riding side by side. The other was out in the middle of the travel lane. And they were not wearing protective equipment or anything. And I appreciate you mentioning this, especially since you're in that group. Because yeah, it's something we need to address, because we don't need to see you guys getting harmed in such a way that's going to impact the rest of your life, or even worse, that you're not going to be around. So thank you for doing this. We truly appreciate it.
Any other questions?
That's usually my job. You do.
All right,
You're
thank
gonna
you.
make a great mayor one day. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
7.4, Careers in Construction Month. Is there anybody here for that? Come on down. We'll have you, after it's read, we'll have you introduce yourself and say a few words.
Whereas the construction industry remains a vital driver of Nevada's economy infrastructure, proving well-paying careers for thousands of Nevadans while shaping safe, sustainable, and innovative communities across our state. And whereas careers in construction encompasses a wide range of opportunities for individuals of all backgrounds and skill levels, from skilled trades and craft workers to engineers, architects, project managers, and industry leaders. And whereas the City of Sparks recognizes the importance of introducing and encouraging students, job seekers, and career changers to the rewarding and diverse pathways available in construction. And whereas the demand for highly skilled construction workforce continues to grow, underscoring the critical need for education, training, and apprenticeship programs that prepare the next generation of professionals. And whereas organizations such as the Nevada chapter of Associated General Contractors, AGC, the Building and Construction Trades Council of Northern Nevada, BCTNN, construction companies, educational institutions, and community partners are leading efforts to promote construction careers through events, outreach, and workforce initiatives. And whereas the month of October provides an important opportunity to highlight the contributions of the construction industry to Nevada's economic strength and to inspire individuals to pursue fulfilling careers in this essential and dynamic field. And now, therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as Careers in Construction Month in the City of Sparks, and encourage all residents to recognize the important contributions of the construction industry and to support efforts that inspire and prepare the next generation of construction professionals.
Give us your name for the record.
My name is Chris Lynn Stratton. I'm with the AGC.
Matt McKay, Washoe County School District, Career Tech Ed Department.
Do you have anything you want to add?
We just have our big construction career day event on Friday, and we are expecting 2,000 students, and we have 52 exhibitors. So it's our biggest event yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. All right. Well, if you wouldn't mind, come over here and we'll get a picture to show on our millions of viewers on YouTube. Or 2 viewers. All right. Okay, let's move on to 7.5. Do we have anyone here for that? Do we have anyone in uniform for that? Got a few. It's Fire Prevention Week. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City of Sparks proclamation, whereas the City of Sparks is committed to assuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes where people are at the greatest risk of fire, and whereas home fires caused approximately 2,800 civilian deaths in the United States in 2021, according to the Fire Protection Association, with the U.S. Fire Departments responding to over 338,000 home fires, reinforcing the importance of fire prevention education. And whereas smoke alarms play a vital role in reducing fire-related deaths and injuries, as working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fire and by half. Wow, sorry about that. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, emphasizes the importance of developing and practicing a home escape plan with all members of the household to be prepared in case of a fire. And whereas the City Sparks encourages all residents to take steps to install smoke alarms on every level of their home, test them monthly, replace batteries yearly, ensure alarms are less than 10 years old, and create and practice a home fire escape plan to improve their chances of surviving a fire. And whereas first responders in the City Sparks dedicate their lives to protecting life and property through fire prevention, fire safety education, emergency response efforts, and are working to reduce the occurrence of home fires and related deaths and injuries through increasing awareness of fire safety. And now, therefore, on behalf of Mayor Lawson, Mayor Sparks, do hereby proclaim October 5th through 11th, 2025 as Fire Prevention Week.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and member of the council. For the record, I am Patrick Chu, the Fire Marshal for the Sparks Fire Department. Thank you for recognizing Fire Prevention Week. This year's theme is Charge into Fire Safety, Lithium-ion Batteries in Your Home. A brief history of Fire Prevention Week. This national declaration came about from the Great Chicago Fire of October 1871, where an estimated 300 people lost their lives and about 18,000 structures was burned. During that time in 1871, the estimated loss was $222 million. Today, that would be close to $6 billion. President Calvin Coolidge proclaimed this week Fire Prevention Week in 1925. Once again, thank you for recognizing Fire Prevention Week. I've been more than happy to any questions that you may have.
Questions from the council? Good.
I just want to say thank you. Obviously, firefighters is, we all love our firefighters, law enforcement, first responders, and I do believe that the fire prevention is something that at times does get overlooked. Obviously with fire prevention, we want to stop fires before they happen. So I do know that's a big mission, and I just want to thank you, your bureau, and obviously all of Sparks Fire Department. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to consent items. What? Hold on. Man. You scared me.
I said yelling from the end of the ducks.
He actually startled me.
Use my deep voice. I know. Sorry.
Man. I'm an old man. Take it easy on me.
Middle schooler.
Maybe, I'm just thinking right back there, somebody instead of on that stuff over there. There we go.
Never have I ever. I captured it.
All right, now can we move on to consent items, Donald?
I'll second that. Getting you back to the document.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.7.
Mr. Anderson.
Second the motion?
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.1, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a request to direct the city manager to initiate changes to Title 20 of the Sparks Municipal Code to modify. I thought we were doing it before 9.3.
11.1, oh, you're right, before 9. Sorry.
How many mayors are sitting up here today?
We're just trying to help.
Thank you.
Making sure you don't miss anything.
Yeah. Data centers. Sienna, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson and council members. For the record, Sienna Reed, City Planner, presenting this item today. This item responds to a request from Councilmember Vanderwell to provide council the opportunity to initiate an amendment to Title 20, that would be our zoning code, to address data centers. As you are well aware, Northern Nevada has emerged as one of the top locations for data centers. This is due to a variety of reasons, some of them being a relatively low risk of natural disasters, a dry climate with cool nights, relatively low land costs and overall land availability, as well as our general proximity to Silicon Valley, and then also state tax incentives. To date, most of the very large data centers have chosen to locate in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center in Story County. Switch and Google have already constructed initial phases there, and there are a host of other companies that are planning to open very large data centers in 2025 and 2026. While the Truckee Meadows has not seen requests for the largest of the large data centers, smaller data centers do have interest and have also already been constructed in the city of Reno. In terms of the community concern on data centers, as you heard earlier under public comment, the most common concern is regarding the power generation needed to fuel new data centers and the impact that that could have to the rate base in terms of the rates that all of our energy customers pay. However, data centers do have impacts beyond energy demand. Those include 24-hour operations, lighting and noise, potential water use as well. Currently, the city's zoning code already allows data centers. It allows them by right in 3 zoning districts. That includes our industrial zoning district, our professional office zoning district, as well as our C2 or general commercial zoning district. And so this means a data center, if it's new construction, could come forward today with an administrative review. That's a 30-day staff review, and then move forward to building permit with no public hearing or public review. In addition, if a data center wanted to locate within an existing building, a data center could go straight to building permit. So the agenda item before you today allows council to direct the city manager to proceed with amendments that potentially modify those standards in the Sparks Municipal Code. That would be potentially looking at the zoning districts where data centers are permitted. Should they be permitted potentially with a conditional use permit? Should there be other development standards in place on data centers? If council does choose to direct the city manager to draft amendments, staff anticipates evaluating those factors, as well as other topics such as noise, lighting, water use, residential adjacency. And importantly, staff is working with the Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Agency, who has really stepped into this data center conversation. We are tracking all of the work that they're doing, following with their public meetings. We do find it of great benefit, the research that they're doing, and then just also the community conversations that they're hosting on data centers. As you are all very well aware, it is a swiftly evolving topic. There are lots of communities across the country that are trying to get their collective heads and zoning regulations around this topic. And so we will continue to participate in those efforts and be coordinated with our regional partners. And before I wrap up, I do just want to importantly note that the zoning code cannot address potential impacts to the rate base from power demand. That is something that falls squarely within the jurisdiction of the Public Utilities Commission. And so those rates charged by the utilities is certainly something that the PUCN is getting lots of comments about. I know that they're working on a variety of efforts, but do just want to note that. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions from the council? Paul?
Sienna, thank you very much for this presentation. I realize we're right at the starting gates here, but thank you very much for taking a look at it. And yeah, all the things that you've discussed, I think all of us as council members have heard concerns about the data centers and potential problems of having them near us, let alone within the city. One of the ones that I just want to make sure that we take a look at is the economic development impact in regard to like our goals, and see if there is potentially a negative economic impact to the city if it goes into an area versus a retail business or something that would actually be generating more revenue. I'm quite honestly, I know they don't have very many employees once they're built, but really what is the revenue that's generated from them once they're up and running would be great. And yeah, I appreciate taking a look at it. I know that they've been doing a lot to work on, renewables and get their energy there. I sit on the Truckee Meadows Water Authority with Member Vanderwell, and we just had Truckee Meadows Water Authority make a deal for the power from their hydroelectric plants being purchased by a data center here locally. So, I mean, they can use renewable energy, they can do some great things with it, but I think we do need to be spending the time now to be taking a look at it, make sure we're going the right direction on it. Thank you.
Mr. Abbott.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, sorry, I skipped over you.
Oh, you're going Charlene too.
Go Donald.
Okay. On title, this is probably more of a general thing, just so if we were to pass this today, I think we have a few other Title 20 items in the queue. Is that correct, right? So we would probably try to do this all, I guess once you do this work, we try to bring that all back together with other changes, or are we, I'll stop talking and let you answer.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Abbott, you are correct. There are a host of amendments to our zoning code that we anticipate needing to tackle in the upcoming months and years. I can't give you the exact timing on those and how we would end up kind of prioritizing pieces or taking strategic parts forward. We're still trying to work through some of that with staffing changes, and then also just in light of additional legislative changes, we have to do a lot of work on our comprehensive plan, and that's due coming up here very soon. So we're still trying to sort all of that out, but we can definitely make sure that council stays apprised of potential timelines moving forward.
Got you. And then my second question is, if there was a motion to be made today to approve this, would it be good to have a moratorium on, like, if someone submitted a permit tomorrow, we have no say?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly if the council wants to move forward with the moratorium, that's something you could direct staff in a separate agenda item to look at in the future. We're not agendized to do that today under the agenda item. And from a staff recommendation perspective, or at least just kind of overall in terms of how other jurisdictions are approaching them, they have not chosen to move forward in that direction just yet.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Sienna. Appreciate it. I think the most important part is that they are allowed today, and I appreciate Councilwoman Vanderwell bringing that forward for us to look at other jurisdictions, not just here, but nationwide on best practices. And I know there's a wealth of information. We can find out pros and cons. And I really strongly support having the city manager pursue conversations with stakeholders, with the experts in the field to really do what's best for our city. We want the benefit, but we also don't want negative or to cause harm by allowing something that all of a sudden we realize that the fallout from that was not beneficial to everyone, to our businesses, to the energy that we need. All of the factors you've mentioned, the power, the water, are important considerations. So really for the city manager to be able to pursue that, get more information and more best practices from other places, I think I'd feel very comfortable that we can make really good decisions. And I appreciate, I think us being proactive on this instead of reactive really makes sense. So thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. I think at this point, I'd just be echoing a lot of what my colleagues have said. I know especially with sitting on the EDON and regional planning, we're promised a lot of money. We're promised this treasure chest of money. I just want to be sure that the people of Sparks in our community, that's factual, that they're getting the benefit of that. And I also know, like, lastly, we're told that there's going to be low impact on our infrastructure. Once this is built, a handful of employees can manage these data centers. But my concern would be is during that construction, during that time, if we try to tuck these away to the corners of Sparks, there's still a lot of schools and a lot of residential in those areas. So that's something I will have concerns about is during those construction phases. And then Councilwoman Bybee, my last concern is talking about the fallout. This is the greatest, biggest thing right now. Is there any possible hazardous materials or anything afterwards once these things, data warehouses potentially may become a thing of the past? So that's another concern I would have. But that's really about it. Just want to echo a lot of what my colleagues are saying. Thank you.
Ms. Vanderwill.
And I apologize because I have a few. So, first of all, being Chair of Regional Governing Board, so this is where everything started. And then also Chair of Western Nevada Development District, where we're also looking at this. I will share that Western Nevada Development District has secured some grant funds to study abatements for the state of Nevada. So we hopefully will have that white paper to help with getting these numbers as close as we can. What I'd like to ask is, so data centers come in several different sizes. So I guess I'd like to have that looked at, especially since we have from micro data centers that can be under 5,000 square feet, small 5,000 to 20,000, average or medium from 20,000 to 100,000 square feet, and then our hyperscale, which exceed 1 million feet. Okay, and the reason I want to ask and take a look at that and to possibly have different tiers for that is if we look at adaptive reuse, okay, in our commercial buildings, I want to make sure that it fits within the neighborhood. And saying that as far as adaptive reuse, I would also like to look at interior and exterior natural landscaping and buffer zones. I would also like to have us look at what happens when we decommission, demolish, or redevelopment. I would like us to look into environmental considerations because in our state constitution, we are supposed to have green alternative energy by 50% by 2030. So I would like to see if we can put this in here that as we get larger scales that they use alternatives versus, the noise. And as far as noise, when we're looking at these also, I would, again, why I brought up buffer zones on interior and exterior for that. Let's see here. And then this is for legal counsel. I'd like to know if, as we have these come in, if we can put them under development agreements so that depending on the size of them and where they are going, to look at infrastructure so that we are able to have a seat at the table to talk about the impacts of what they're going to do. And then, let's see. I would also like to, if we can look at, I apologize because I have been, I would also like to have us look at, since sometimes they have a large footprint, and I'm concerned about the stormwater runoff. So I'd like to know if we can look at, when we put the data centers in, if we can have smaller parking lots or not necessarily that they are asphalt, if we can use alternatives there. And then again, and then also I would like to have, I would also have to like to us look into the renewable portfolio standards. Okay, because there is a certification that our data centers can get for that, kind of like, the green certifications and things like that. And the reason I'd like to look at that is because if we have an applicant that's coming in that has gone out there and gotten these certifications and is going to be a good neighbor and things like that, that possibly we can look at alternatives to either fast track or things like that. And I think that's pretty much it. I just, and if I think of anything else, I will, of course, let you guys know. And I appreciate, as we went down this road, I made sure that staff was hooked up with Victory Logistics and Fernley since they were doing those things, and also Story County, so that we knew how these were affecting our neighboring counties and things, and if there's possibly things that we can learn from them. So I appreciate all this, and I look forward to bringing forward some good policy that will represent everyone and that we do it responsibly. So thank you.
Okay, anyone else? I got a question for Wes. Then Wes, is there any reason we can't put a hold on data centers while we're investigating a new ordinance?
Well, I'd say, Mr. Mayor's like, certainly we can't do that on this agenda item. We can certainly explore with the city manager's office whether we'd want to do that, whether it's a prudent policy, and
We're gonna look at
whether we
everything.
can.
It makes sense to me that we shouldn't be forced into having something inferior.
Yeah. So I'll work with the city manager's office on a future agenda
We'll take
item.
care of that for the next agenda too. Just put a hold. All right. While this is being investigated, it makes perfect sense. There's a lot to discuss. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Vanderwell.
Look through my notes. I would also like to say that staff and I have met with NV Energy, and that NV Energy has assured us, which I am going to hold them to it, that infrastructure is not passed on to our ratepayers, that if this development's coming in, that they need to take the responsibility to pay for this themselves.
Okay. That all of it?
That's it.
You sure?
I'm sure now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then with that, I am looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to direct the city manager to draft proposed amendments to Title 20 of the Sparks Municipal Code, modify the zoning districts where data centers are permitted, and develop associated development standards and definitions for data centers.
Okay, Mr. Abbott. Second. I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Sienna. All right, 9.2, consideration and possible approval of bill number 2841, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City of Sparks, Nevada Tourism Improvement District Number 1, the Legends at Sparks Marina, sales tax anticipated revenue bond series 2025 in the maximum aggregate principal amount of $35 million, authorizing the execution and delivery of specific agreements, documents, and instruments in connection therewith, approving other matters related thereto, providing for the adoption of the ordinance as if an emergency exists, and providing the effective date thereof. That was a lot of words, Jeff. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, and happy first day of autumn, my absolute favorite time of the year. So I'm going to keep my comments brief, but certainly if you have any questions, stop me or we'll address it at the end. But and bear with me as I'm going to refer to my notes here a little bit just to make sure I get my dates right. But before you today, I bring what's often called a bond ordinance, which is authorizing city staff to issue and sell the final round of STAR bonds in an amount not to exceed $35 million. And we put that in as a buffer. We really expect this to be closer in the range of $30 to $31 million. But not to exceed is very typical for these types of, really for any bond issuances. But we're doing so in accordance with the development agreement signed in March 2006 between the City of Sparks and Red Development that resulted in the development of the Legends Outlet Mall at the Sparks Marina. Bond proceeds from this issuance will only be used to reimburse red development for eligible project costs, which were incurred many years ago. These costs were not reimbursed previously due to inadequate levels of STAR bonds that were available to be issued at this time. So I just wanted to reiterate that this isn't going to be used for anything new related to the project, but to reimburse previous costs that were already incurred. Just a little bit of background, but sales tax anticipated revenue bonds, or otherwise known as STAR bonds, is a tool allowed by Nevada law that gives local governments a utilization to finance retail, what's called tourism improvement districts. STAR bond debt service must not be paid, or can only be paid from sales taxes that are generated within the Legends or the project area, and no more than 75% of the sales taxes that are generated. No other funding source is allowed. So these aren't general obligation bonds. We're not putting the full faith credit, of the city behind these. Even if we wanted to pay these off, we're not allowed by law or agreement to do so. The Sparks Tourism Improvement District 1 was created in July 2007, and the first STAR bonds were issued in June of 2008. By law, the district must terminate no later than the end of the fiscal year, 20 years after the issuance, 20 years after the creation of the district. So it has to end in by the end of the fiscal year, June of 2028. Likewise, the STAR bonds also must mature no later than June of 2028, mirroring the lifespan of the district for which it was created. The STAR bonds that were originally issued in 2008 were refunded in 2019, and the bond ordinance being considered today approves using an escrow agreement to defease those 2019 refunding bonds with sales taxes that were already collected and are on hand. We're seeking approval of this ordinance as if an emergency exists, which essentially gives us the flexibility to navigate market conditions that change rapidly and also to determine the final pricing of the bonds. As if an emergency exists essentially means we need a supermajority of approval votes, so 4 out of 5 in our case here. There is one correction, or it's more of an update rather than a correction, I guess, that was in the staff report. We were looking to finalize selling these bonds and close the bond sale. I said in the staff report by the end of November. We're hoping to do that a few weeks earlier, bump that up a little bit, and close this by mid-November. So again, just to repeat, I guess myself, just that the STAR bonds must mature no later than June of 2028, at which point the sales taxes generated from within the Legends Outlet Mall will then be redistributed according to the normal C-tax distribution, as all sales taxes are within the county. That's the end of my presentation. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, just for clarification, because I know this is what's going to come out, is that we just gave away $35 million. We don't have any money. We have no choice in this. This is not our money. This is money that's set up by contract 20 years ago.
That's correct.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Mr. Anderson.
Does this issuance of the bond impact our rating or our debt capacity, anything like that?
No, these are unrated bonds. They take all debt that's on the books. When I say they, meaning the ratings agencies, take all debts that are on the books of the city in consideration. The previous bonds that were outstanding were quite a bit higher, so I can just use that as background to share. And those were rated bonds, and those had very little impact, if any, on the ratings of the city. So I would expect the same to be true with this.
Thank you.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Jeff. So can you explain how the bonds are being paid back?
They're strictly being paid back from resources, meaning sales taxes that are generated from within the Legends area. So any sales taxes that are generated within the TID, the Tourism Improvement District, will go straight to our third-party administrator, on the bank purposes, and pay those bonds off in semi-annual payments.
Great, thank you. And can I have a follow-up, please, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
So the city has not been able to gain this income for the last 20 years, correct? Go right ahead.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to finish. It's that 25% has always been allocated to be distributed amongst the normal C-tax distribution. 75% is always earmarked, and that's going to be the case for these as well. And that's what's allowed by law, no more than 75%.
So once we pay this bond off, then that's income that will start coming back to the city, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, I'm looking for a motion then. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve Bill number 2841, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of City of Sparks, Nevada Tourism Improvement District Number 1, Legends of Sparks Marina, Sales Tax Anticipation Revenue Bonds Series 2025 in the maximum aggregate principal amount of $35 million, authorizing the execution and delivery of specified agreements, documents, and instruments in connection therewith, approving other matters relating thereto, providing for the adoption of the ordinance as if an emergency exists, and providing the effective date thereof.
Mr. Rodriguez. A second. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, we'll move on to 11.1, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible action on the request for a major deviation to reduce the gross residential density from a minimum of 12 dwelling units per acre to 6.17 dwelling units per acre in the MF2 multifamily residential zoning district on a 7.46 acre site located at 6635 Five Ridges Parkway, APN 536-121-39, Sparks, Nevada, PCN 919-0040/MAG 25-0001. Sienna.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Lawson and council members. Again, Sienna Reed. With your permission, Mr. Mayor, this presentation will actually cover 2 agenda items associated with Five Ridges Village 1B. That would be the major deviation that you just read, as well as the associated tentative map.
Is that 9.3?
That's correct.
Perfect.
Just to start off with, in terms of council action today, I do want to note that the major deviation, which is, again, agenda item 11.1, it does require a public hearing. That must be heard first. And then the tentative map, which is agenda item 9.3, that does not require a public hearing. And council is hearing these items today concurrently, meaning that council is going to be taking the final action on both items. Typically, major deviations are final with planning commission action, but because the tentative map is final with council, the applicant can come forward today, get both requests approved today, if council so chooses to move forward in that direction. Here on this slide, you can see the Five Ridges Village 1B project site outlined in red. It totals 7.46 acres and is located adjacent to Highland Ranch Parkway in the southern portion of the greater Five Ridges project site that you can see outlined here on this slide in blue. For many of you, the requests before you today will be familiar. This is because both the tentative map and major deviation requests were previously approved in August of 2021. And the request before you today would effectively renew those 2021 approvals. Notably, a final map for Village 1B is currently under review. However, it won't be certified by council and recorded prior to the tentative map expiring, leading to the need today to review these particular entitlements. As proposed, the major deviation request seeks to reduce the required minimum density applicable in the MF2 zoning district from 12 dwelling units per acre to 6.17 dwelling units per acre. That's a 48.6% decrease. And code does allow for major deviations to be granted to deviate from development standards by greater than 10%, but less than 50%, with the exception of our parking and sign standards. And so this request falls within that allowable range. And if council so chooses to grant it, the lower density would support the construction of 46 townhome units in Five Ridges Village 1B. The associated tentative map request proposes a 46-lot townhome subdivision with lots arranged as 23 two-unit buildings or duplexes. The lots range in size from 1,769 to 2,257 square feet and comprise 2.14 acres of the project site. The remaining 4.85 acres of the site is identified as common area for open space, community amenities, private streets, as well as slopes that have been disturbed and a detention basin that will be maintained by the Five Ridges Landscape Association. And then another 0.47 acres of the site just along the southern side is set aside for the future widening of Highland Ranch Parkway. And ultimately, the 46 townhome units on this 7.46 acre site do yield a gross density of 6.17 dwelling units per acre. That's below the 12 that's needed for the MF2 zoning district and does necessitate the major deviation. Here on this slide, you can see the preliminary landscape plan. It overall illustrates the overall subdivision design. Primary access is provided directly from Highland Ranch Parkway. It's on the western side of the subdivision in this general location here. Sidewalks are proposed on one side of the private street. That would be on the south side here. And ultimately, the sidewalk does connect to Five Ridges Parkway via an emergency access road that you can see kind of off screen in this location. Each townhome unit will have one garage parking space and one driveway parking space. Then there are also 38 surface parking spaces distributed throughout the subdivision. You can see them here in this location, as well as here, and then further to the east within the subdivision. When you total up all of the parking spaces provided, there are 130 spaces proposed. And the preliminary floor plans do show that there's going to be a mix of two bedroom and 3-bedroom units. And so if each were constructed with 3 bedrooms, there would be a total parking demand of 138 spaces. And so that's higher than what's proposed with that 130 on site. And so to ensure that parking does meet our required code standards, staff is recommending, and the Planning Commission has recommended, the applicant provide final floor plans and a house model mix layout prior to recording a final map. On this slide, you can see the typical building setbacks proposed with Village 1B. You can see kind of highlighted in green there because the graphic is a little bit fuzzy. Townhomes are arranged here as the 2-unit buildings, 1 unit here, 1 unit here. And within each individual lot, there is the townhome itself, a driveway here, a 10-foot front yard, and then also a 10-foot rear yard. And here on this slide, you can see the preliminary building elevations for the proposed units. This does a good job illustrating that there's going to be a mix of 1- and 2-story models throughout the subdivision, and that each of them has a 1-car garage. All right, so shifting gears here to the findings. I'll go through the major deviation findings first and then shift gears again to the tentative map findings. So starting with those major deviation findings, here on this slide, you have MD1, which is consistency with Title 20 or the city's zoning code. Here, the major deviation procedure was added to the zoning code as a mechanism to really bridge gaps on a case-by-case basis between our adopted development standards and then various other factors affecting development of a site. And currently, our zoning code does not provide for an option for residential development between 7.4 and 11.9 dwelling units per acre. That's due to the fact that our SF6 zoning district has a maximum density of 7.3 dwelling units per acre and doesn't allow for attached products. And then our MF2 zoning district does allow for attached products but has a minimum density of 12 dwelling units per acre. Council is certainly aware of this issue from the work that's being done on the housing affordability audit, and staff does anticipate future code changes that will facilitate missing middle housing products like this one. That said, for now, to develop low-density attached housing products, such as the townhomes proposed, applicants must either request a major deviation request or move forward with a plan development handbook. And so approval of this major deviation would allow for development within that current density gap and would not have any impact in terms of the MF2 zoning district acting as a buffer between single-family zoning to the north of the site and then commercial zoning to the south. Moving on to finding MD2, it asks the council to consider the impact of the request on health, safety, and welfare, as well as impacts to nearby property or improvements. Here, granting the lower density would reduce the required number of dwelling units on the site from 89 to 46 and would not have a material impact on public health, safety, or welfare, nor is it injurious to property or improvements in the surrounding vicinity. Next finding, MD3, focuses on preservation and enjoyment of property rights possessed by other properties in the same land use district. That would be the MF14 Comprehensive Plan Land Use Designation. On this point, properties designated MF14 are located nearby the subject site. However, they're governed on the zoning side by plan development handbooks that don't have the minimum density standards. And so granting this major deviation request would reduce the required minimum density, similar and consistently with those other properties. Finding MD4, asks council to consider whether a special privilege not allowed to other properties would occur if the request is granted. Here, other properties within the MF2 zoning district are subject to that minimum density standard of 12 dwelling units per acre, but a major deviation request can be applied for and potentially granted to similarly situated property owners. Next, finding MD5 requires public notice be given and a public hearing held as required by state law and our code. Here, public notice was published in the Reno Gazette Journal on August 5th, and notices were mailed to property owners within 500 feet of the subject property. That was 39 individual notices, also on August 5th. And so far, one comment was received on the request that stated support for widening of Highland Ranch Parkway prior to future development occurring. And then in terms of the Planning Commission public hearing, 2 members of the public did attend that meeting. Neither stated their direct favor or opposition to the project. Rather, they were seeking information regarding traffic and future roadway improvements. So moving here now into our 12 tentative map findings. For the most part, they're in numerical order with the exception of a couple of findings related to streets. We have finding T1 on this slide, which is conformance with our comprehensive plan. On this point, the 46 lots proposed by the tentative map would provide a townhome housing product that enhances housing diversity, that supports policy H2. City services can be provided at acceptable service levels with the improvements that are outlined in the development agreement for Five Ridges. That complies with policy CF1. And then for sidewalks, we do have that sidewalk being provided on one side of the private local street in support of policy C4. Next findings, T2 and T7, they both relate to streets. On this topic, project access is provided from Highland Ranch Parkway. Trip generation for the proposed subdivision is estimated at 434 average daily trips, with 43 of those peak hour trips being in the afternoon. And that's based on an updated traffic study memorandum that was submitted with the subdivision. That traffic study did analyze the Highland Ranch Parkway, Five Ridges Parkway intersection. It found it will operate at acceptable levels of service with Village 1B trips. The traffic study did find that the left-bound movement turning from the subdivision out onto Highland Ranch Parkway would operate below policy level of service. However, the queue was estimated to be just one vehicle, or actually less than one vehicle in length, and not occurring within the public right-of-way, and therefore no improvements were recommended. However, condition 17 does require the paved approach that connects Highland Ranch Parkway to the subdivision to meet a specific NDOT design. That's to ensure safe turning movements. And then in addition, the development agreement that regulates the development of Five Ridges does require the widening of Highland Ranch Parkway from Five Ridges Parkway to Pyramid, as well as intersection improvements to the Pyramid Highland Ranch Parkway intersection if trips from Village 1B cause overall traffic level of service to degrade beyond certain points. And we do have a condition that requires a traffic analysis evaluating those thresholds being provided prior to approving a final map. Notably, the Five Bridges developer has started to move forward with the project to widen Highland Ranch Parkway from Five Bridges Parkway to Pyramid and improve the intersection of Pyramid and Highland Ranch Parkway. So that is starting to be underway. In addition, the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan does have the widening of Highland Ranch Parkway, really that longer segment from Sun Valley Boulevard to Five Bridges Parkway being widened from 2 to 4 lanes in the 2025 to 2034 timeframe. And our city engineer has indicated that that project should be in the earlier portion of that timeframe. Moving on to finding T3, agencies that regulate environmental impacts did not provide comments. However, the developer does need to meet local, county, and state requirements in regards to environmental impacts. Finding T4 focuses on availability of water to serve the site. Here, the domestic water requirement for the 46 units is estimated at 5.52 acre feet per year. And the municipal water service provider will be Sun Valley General Improvement District. Finding T5 looks at the availability of utilities to serve the site, including sewer and storm drain capacity. In terms of sewer, the duplexes are estimated to generate 41,400 gallons of sewage per day, and the applicant is required to provide evidence that there's adequate sewer capacity to serve the project prior to approving a final map, and then construct any sewer improvements necessary in accordance with the DA. Also, a final storm drain and stormwater and drainage plan for the development must be approved prior to approving a final map. Looking here next at finding T6 that focuses on the availability of schools, police, transportation, and parks. For schools, the project is zoned for Hall Elementary School, Shaw Middle School, and Spanish Springs High School. Washoe County School District did not provide any comments on the request. The Sparks Police Department will provide services to the site. They expressed no concerns with the proposal. As previously discussed, roadway network improvements needed to accommodate the Five Bridges project. Those are identified in the DA and will be installed consistent with the thresholds in that agreement. Regarding parks, there are no community or regional parks planned directly within the Five Bridges project site, and the closest public park to the subdivision proposed by this tentative map is Highland Ranch Park. That's about a half mile away to the west of the project site. I do want to note that there are private parks planned within Five Bridges, however. Looking here at finding T8 that addresses floodplain slopes and soils. The lots proposed within this subdivision do not fall within the 100-year floodplain. For slopes, the project site has already been graded in compliance with the existing conditional use permit for development on slopes, hilltops, and ridges. As graded, the western portion of the building pad will be at a similar elevation to Highland Ranch Parkway, whereas the eastern portion will be about 15 feet above it. For soils, a final geotechnical report is required at the time of final map. And then in regards to finding T9, no outside agency responses were provided. And then finding T10 asks you to consider the availability of fire protection services. Here, the Village 1B site is located outside the department's 4-minute travel time standard, and dwelling units are required to have sprinklers unless they become located within that 4-minute travel time due to the construction of the 6th fire station. Finding T11 asks staff and the Planning Commission to look at other impacts of the proposal. Here we've identified architecture for the residences, parking, community amenities, and fencing. Condition 20 does require those final architectural elevations to be approved prior to approving a final map. Condition 21 requires those final floor plans and a house model mix to make sure all parking is lined up and meets code requirements. Condition 19 requires at least 3 community amenities and their associated operations be approved prior to approving a final map. And condition 22 requires any wall that separates the lots from Highland Ranch Parkway be constructed with a split face CMU material and designed to blend with the surrounding natural environment. And finally, finding T12 requires the public be notified of this item. The posting of the agenda for this meeting serves that purpose as providing notice to the public. Ultimately, the Planning Commission has forwarded 2 recommendations of approval to the City Council, one for the major deviation and one for the tentative map. And you can see suggested motions for both requests on this slide. Again, a public hearing is required for the major deviation. No public hearing is required for the tentative map. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation. I'm happy to answer any question on either item.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Sienna. I know that there is a minimum unit for Five Ridges in all different kinds of housing. So by lowering this, are they still making the minimum of the units they need to be put in there?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Vanderwell, the minimum dwelling unit that's required in the development agreement is 1,200. And with Five Ridges Village 1B, they will be at 1,240. So they meet that minimum.
Okay, anyone else? All right. Go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. For the private parks, do we know how many that, I was trying to look on here, but do we know, like, is it 1 or 2 private parks? Honestly, I don't want kids trying crossing Pyramid to go half a mile for a community park. So if they're taking care of that, great. Just, do we know how many?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, my recollection is that it's 2 private parks. I know one of them has already been through our planning approval process. And I believe that there's one more after that planned.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else? All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak about this item? Being none, we'll bring it back to the dais, and we are looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
Working on it. I move to approve the major deviation MAJ 25-0001 associated with PCN 19-0040 to reduce the gross residential density from a minimum of 12 dwelling units per acre to 6.17 dwelling units per acre in MF2 multifamily residential zoning district on a 7.46 acre located at 6635 Five Ridges Parkway, subject to 3 conditions of approval.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, do we need to add anything for 9.3? Sienna?
No, Mr. Mayor, we do not.
Any questions from the council on 9.3? If not, I am looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
Move to approve the tentative plan request MST 22-0002 associated with PCN 19-0040, adopting findings T1 through T12 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, subject to the conditions of approval 1 through 22.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries. Didn't vote. Come on. The motioner. Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you, Sienna. 9.4, first reading, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a first reading of Bill number 2840 to rezone real property 0.79 acres in size located at 2301 Sparks Boulevard, Sparks, Nevada from MF-2/PUD, multifamily/planned unit development to PO, professional office, APN 036-011-23. A public hearing will be held and Bill 2840 will be acted upon at the regular meeting of the Sparks City Council on Monday, October 13th, 2025 at 2 p.m. at the Sparks City Council Legislative Building located at 745 4th Street, Sparks, Nevada 89431.
Okay, moving on to item 10.1. This is a public hearing, Mr. Clerk.
Public hearing?
10.1.
Public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of agreement AC 6152 between the City of Sparks and the International Association of Firefighters, IAFF, Local 731 for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027, with an estimated cost increase of the city of $47,295 in fiscal year 26 and $57,549 in fiscal year 27.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Ariana Wichapa, Human Resources Analyst Senior for the record. For consideration today is the Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, with the International Association of Firefighters Local 731, IAFF. For background, the most recent CBA expired June 30th, 2025. In anticipation of the CBA's expiration, the city and IAFF's bargaining teams began meeting for negotiations in winter of 2024 and held regular meetings through 2025. As part of the process, a labor market study was conducted. This compared wages, special pays, and benefits to local comparable agencies. On July 17, 2025, the city and IAFF reached a tentative agreement which was ratified by the IAFF membership on or about September 9th, 2025, which brings us here today. If approved by the City Council, the agreement would entail a 2-year contract term starting July 1st, 2025 and running through June 30th, 2027. Major changes to the CBA are as follows. In year 1, effective July 1st, 2025, overtime for special events will be paid at 2 times the employee's calculated FLSA rate. Special event overtime, mutual aid overtime, and training program overtime cannot be added to the employee's compensatory time bank and must be paid out in cash. The longevity pay cap increases from $8,000 to $9,000 max per year. Employees who retire with 20 plus years of service will have the city pay 70% of the health insurance premium for the employee and the spouse. This was increased from the 60% city contribution under the current CBA. Just a note, those who do retire prior to the ratification of the contract remain receiving the 60% versus the 70%. Employees can elect to cash out up to 80 hours of annual leave per year in 40-hour increments. The estimated fiscal impact in year 1 is a total of $47,295, with $44,091 coming out of the general fund and $3,204 coming out of the enterprise fund. In year 2, effective July 1st, 2026, fire apparatus operator and fire captain paramedic special pay will increase from 3% to 5%, and the estimated fiscal impact in year 2 is $57,549 from the general fund. Finally, we would like to thank the negotiation team for both the city and IAFF as our efforts resulted in these contract negotiations. And as a reminder, this is a public hearing, and with that, I can answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? No, bring it back to the dais, and I am looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the agreement AC-6152 between the City of Sparks and the International Association of Firefighters, IAFF, Local 731, for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027, with an estimated cost increase to the city of $47,295 in fiscal year 26 and $57,549 in fiscal year 27.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, Mr. Clerk, do we have any comments from the public? Nope. Announcement from Mayor, City Council, City Manager. Mr. Manager, got anything? City Council, you have anything? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do.
Oh, I just saw your name.
Thank you. I would like to ask the city manager if he can please put on our October 13th agenda presentation from our consultants to get an update on the lands bill. And I would also put on the agenda an item discussion for possible termination of the contract.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez.
First time asking. So I'd like to ask staff for a couple things on the presentation on updating our animal cruelty ordinance. I know I've sent some stuff to our city attorney and city manager, so I'm more than happy to help the staff on kind of how I envision that. So that's kind of, and then the presentation on C-tax or property tax, just, how that's disbursements done through for the city of Reno, Washoe, and Sparks. Then lastly, as we look to explore ideas of regionalizing dispatch and things of that nature to keep that momentum going, I would also like to explore any possible collaboration with our fire prevention bureau with the city of Reno and or Truckee Meadows as well. Basically just ensuring that there's one fire code throughout this county. So I think that could be a step forward in the right direction as well. And did I do that right, Mr. Mayor?
I think you did fine.
All righty, thank you.
I think you did fine. Okay. Is that all? We are adjourned.
Next.
I don't share it anymore, sounds like they just. I don't share it anymore, I turn it, I can go.
We'll call to order today's Sparks Development Agency meeting, Monday, September 22nd, with a roll call.
Chairperson Abbott,
Here.
agency members Lawson.
Here.
Vanderwell.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Chief Administration Officer Louthan. Here. Chief Legal Officer Duncan.
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Do we have any public comment? Anyone in the public? I don't see anyone. We'll move to item 4.1, agenda, approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion. Agency member Vanderwell.
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you. Agency member Bybee.
I will second that motion.
Awesome, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Looks like it passes unanimously. Item 5.1, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for August 25th, 2025. Looking for a motion. Agency member Anderson.
Move to approve the minutes for the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for August 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Agency member Rodriguez.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously. Item 6.1, consideration and possible acceptance of the report of the claims and bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period of August 13, 2025 through September 9th, 2025. Looking for a motion. Agency member Rodriguez.
We have to accept the report of claims and bills and their appropriation transfers for the period of August 13th, 25 through September 9th, 25.
Awesome. I think we have a motion. Agency member Vanderwell.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Awesome. There's no business items. Comments from the public? Any public comment over there? Thank you very much. Any announcements for the agency and chief administrative officer? Groovy. We'll adjourn. Thank you. Have a good one.